Okay, we're coming into the end here, and you can pretty much clearly see, which you won't be able to see in a bit. You can see where we started, and like I explained, I don't really count this first one as our first because this is tough to get through. What we are going to do is once we get in, you see we just worked our last back post. I'm going to come up here and go ahead and work this front post again. And that's going to finish off that round, and it's going to create a bar that's going to allow us to come through. Okay, and as you see around my bag, I'm just going to take that out for a moment. You can see all of the stitches along the top of that. Okay, and like I said, we ended here. What you want to do at this point, and this is going to require very little, but some thought process here, because we are going to do another round of our grapevine stitch, and that would require the 2 rows. I believe I said row row 9 and 10 to alternate. We're going to work those 2 one more round because we want to work back over our front post to cover up what we've done here. So we're going to go ahead and chain 2 after we've worked that very last one right there. Okay, you gotta see here what you're working into. This is our cluster stitch right here. So we could work, and I'm not even going to bother working a double crochet in. I'm just going to come right into here because I've worked this up from this front post double crochet. I'm going to come right into this cluster stitch and work a cluster. If I can get in there. You want to go ahead and start another row here. Okay, so worked another cluster, chain 1, and come into my next cluster, or one above the cluster, and work another cluster, and chain 1. And you can see your cluster stitch comes right above because you're just skipping. You're skipping your double, and that's our front post double crochet right there. So we're skipping that, and we're working into our next crochet or cluster. And just make sure that's going to be pretty visible. If you did this loose enough, it's going to be pretty visible for you to see where you need to put your next cluster into. And we're going to chain 1 after each cluster, don't forget, because we are going to work that next row after to complete our grapevine stitch. I've been trying to figure out what to call this stitch, what I've done here for a while, and I've tossed it around and asked some friends, and I have just, for some reason, I just keep coming up with a grapevine, because although it's not all squiggly like a grapevine, you know, you always have those, your stakes in between the grapevine, and there is an actual vine. So I have called it a grapevine now. I'm gonna have to stick with it, I'm afraid. I like it though. So just making all our grapes right now. And chain 1 into our next cluster. Just make sure you're skipping that one stitch after your chain 1, following your cluster, and you will be fine. Okay, so I'm going to leave you. Go ahead and pause your video and meet me on the other end. We are going to work this row, and then when I get to the end of this row, I am going to show you how we're going to jump into our last row and finish up completely. So I will see you in a bit. Okay, we have completed, wait, I have one more cluster to make here, and then we've completed our row of clusters. I'm not sure. I'm having a problem there. And then we have our skip. We're going to come into right here. We have now met a new challenge, and I'm going to explain to you why. Because we have always started our rows with a double crochet. I'm not changing this now because I'm here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to join into the top of my second chain. Okay, we chained 2 in the beginning, and I am going to backtrack on what I said, and I am going to make a note of this in my previous video so that you know this. When you hear me saying this now, it will be a repeat of what you are reading in the first video, but I'm going to finish by joining with the top of the second chain. Here is the top of my cluster stitch. You see that? And we went straight into our cluster from our chain. So this chain right here is the top of our chain 2. I'm going to join to that top chain. And you can, it doesn't matter how, if you want to join with both. It can get a little tricky sometimes. I'm just going to join right there. Okay, so I'm joining to the top of that chain. Now we're going to go back to the round that started this all, 1, 2, that we're actually going to come back to the round of front post, back post, double crochets. So that would be your round, and forgive me for not being more together on this. I've got several rounds. We'll finish up by working that round 11. Okay. Or round 9. 9 and 11 should be the same. I believe I just wrote 11 so that you knew what to follow into, but we're just going to we can work a double crochet into that same space, and then we're going to come down immediately into a front post double crochet, and we're going to go into the same, the same area here. Just go right below your chain, okay? Right below that chain that we made across with a double crochet. Now this is going to scrunch this down just a little bit. That's okay, because you'll see in the end it all works out. It looks nice. So we're going to pull that up. Okay. So we have our first made. Now we're going to come around to the back and go just under. This is going to be kind of awkward, just like, only probably not as bad as that first round of front post, back post double crochets that we did. It was just kind of a cramped space. And now that we're working directly under our chain that we worked around that front post, the back post might get a little tricky to get into, but it'll be fine. Okay, and this is all just gonna pull this up together again, and you'll see it'll all lay out nicely at the end. But just go again, we're just working front post, back post, double crochets, making sure to do one single crochet on top of each cluster stitch following either your front post or back post. Double crochet. So we're going to work into our front post, and then we're working a single crochet into the cluster. So we're working next our back post, with a single crochet into the cluster, and continue that around. I will meet you at the end and we'll finish this up. Okay, now we have completed this row after this last, let's see here, we just finished our single crochet on top of our cluster. Then we're going to do one more back post, double crochet, single crochet right there on that cluster stitch, and then just go ahead and come over to your first double crochet made that we did go ahead and make in this round, and slip stitch. Okay, now I wish I could get this in here so to give you a good look of what we've done here. We have just completed our bag. It is a little more scrunched on top, and how loose you make your chains here is what's going to determine how this does a little bit of a flare out on my attempts to close or to come up with a closure. I had mentioned before that I do have a it's just a cord and one of these little attachments that you find at the bottom of coats to tighten the coat. You just squeeze this and you can push it closed. It's really kind of a fun little closure, but just to show you, in this bag I've added one, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to get the, oh, there we go, some light. You can see the cord, but not that well. And what I did was I took my cord and I just strung it through one of my bigger needles, blunt needles, and I wove in and under, up and under, up and under, all the way through. It's kind of hard to tell how I did it. It kind of blended in pretty nice all the way around to the back, all the way around, and it gave it this nice round shape. It's a really nice bag. And one thing you're going to notice about this bag, because of how we did our stitches with the cluster stitches along with our front post, back post, it has made this a very thick, nice, thick bag, and it's very sturdy. This thing will last forever. If you want to double up anywhere in yarn, I definitely would not do it for this part of the bag. It really is a thick bag. I would do it on the base of the bag if you want to have extra thickness, because this is the one place where you have a very standard, very basic base for a bag. So if you're going to double up anywhere, double up there, but I definitely would not double your yarn up here. You're going to have a very difficult time working it. If you do, it's going to be a battle. It would be interesting. If you do decide to try and double up your yarn, I would absolutely love to see your finish on it. So I would love for you to come over to our group at Yarn Wars. That would be www.facebook.com/groups/Yarn Wars. And that should pop up right there in the screen. But I would love to see how you have incorporated the grapevine stitch. I have that, and now I've got another bag. These are so fun too, because these would make a great purse, a great basket, a great new mommy bag, a diaper bag. If you wanted to make it a little bigger, that would be probably helpful. But even at, this size for a new baby, you could get a few diapers in there and bottles and just some little things you can throw on the go to take with. But basically, at this point with our bag, I'm just finishing this. Did not get rid of the tail here, but basically with this bag, our last was a slip stitch through. And with my slip stitches, I always like, I'm going to come into this next one and slip as well. And I always like to chain up one. I don't know why. It is just a habit I have, but it just I feel like it's locking it in place much, much better. Okay. For a handle, you can do anything for a handle. If you want to make an attachment to attach a handle, I will go ahead and include a real simple. This is all double crochet, as you can see. I just did 2 rows of double crochet for a fun little sling to the bag, and I attached it in the top. I attached it to 2 of these bars across the top, so it's on there really nice and tight and secure. And then I attached it on the bottom, which is not going to be easy to see, but I attached it between these 2 front post double crochets, and then there's a double crochet in between for the back post, so I attached it through those 3 areas. So it's a very sturdy, nice sling bag. You could make it like a purse with a handle above, but it's a simple pattern, so simple, fun, and it's something that you will be able to turn into so many different things. Okay, now to our basket, I am going to go ahead and explain to you how I have made this scallop stitch in another video, and I will attach that as soon as I'm able. It will be attached to this playlist within the next couple of days, and that'll give you plenty of time to work something up. This one is easy, and the written instructions for this bag, the written instructions for how to complete this edging that gives you this scallop look are included in the pattern. But the video for it I'm going to have to put up within the next couple of days. So I'm going to have to make another bag, a small basket, to make one of these so that I can show you. But I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I'm sorry for all of the long-winded talking. I always do. And I appreciate you joining us here at Yarn Wars. We always have a great time with all of our friends at the group page, and I hope that you will come and visit us soon. We are also on the web at yarnwars.com, and you can see us there. You can come like us on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/yarnwars, or again on our group page, you just go to facebook.com/groups/yarnwars. And I would love for you to subscribe to our channel. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye.